Number 1. I was having the time of my life on holiday with my friends. We'd spent the day lounging by the pool, laughing, and enjoying a few cocktails. That night we decided to hit the hotel bar. It was buzzing with music and energy, and we were having a blast. Halfway through the night, I realized I'd left my phone charging in my room. "I'll be right back," I shouted over the music, slipping away while the others kept dancing. As I crossed the lobby, I noticed him again, the man I'd seen by the pool earlier. He was leaning against a wall, eyes following me as I walked past. A chill ran down my spine, but I shrugged it off, telling myself I was just being paranoid. I got into the elevator, and right before the doors closed, he slid in. I forced a smile, feeling my chest tighten. He stood too close, his eyes fixed on the numbers as they lit up with each floor. I tried to convince myself it was a coincidence. My floor finally arrived. I stepped out quickly, feeling his presence behind me. My heart pounded as I walked down the hall, the sound of his footsteps echoing. I tried to act casual, reaching my door and fumbling with the keycard. My hands were shaking. Just as I unlocked the door, he shoved me from behind, forcing his way in. I stumbled, trying to scream, but his hand clamped over my mouth. Panic surged through me. I fought, kicking and writhing, but he was strong. Then, like a miracle, I heard a voice. "Hey, what's going on?" It was the man from the room next door, the one who had helped us with our bags when we checked in. He was standing there with his wife and kids, about to head out. He rushed over, grabbing the man and pulling him off me. I collapsed against the wall, gasping for air as his wife called security. The attacker tried to run, but my neighbor held him down until hotel security arrived. Moments later, the police showed up and took him away. I found out later that he wasn't even staying at the hotel. He'd been lurking around, watching women, waiting for an opportunity. If my neighbor hadn't shown up when he did, I don't even want to think about what could have happened. Number 2, it was late when I finally got to my hotel room. I was exhausted from a long day of travel, and all I wanted was to crash into bed. I didn't bother unpacking, just threw my suitcase by the wall and flopped down on the mattress. I must have dozed off because the next thing I knew, I was jolted awake by a loud knock at the door. Groggy, I glanced at the clock. 2:13 a.m. Who would be knocking at this hour? I ignored it, figuring they had the wrong room, but the knocking continued, louder and more insistent. I felt a chill run down my spine. I got up and tiptoed to the peephole, peering through. A man stood outside, his face half hidden by the shadow. He was dressed in a hotel uniform, but something about him felt off. "Maintenance," he called, his voice flat. "I need to check your bathroom pipes." I didn't buy it. Why would maintenance come at this hour? I kept quiet, hoping he'd leave, but the knocking grew more aggressive. "I know you're in there. I just need to check the bathroom," he insisted, his voice getting sharper. My heart raced. I backed away from the door, grabbing my phone and dialing the front desk. The woman who answered sounded confused. "We don't have maintenance scheduled for your room. Stay where you are. I'm sending security." Minutes later, I heard voices in the hallway. I peeked out to see hotel security confronting the man. He argued, claiming he was staff, but he couldn't produce any ID. They escorted him away, and I was told later that he didn't work at the hotel at all. They found a stolen uniform in his backpack, along with duct tape and rope. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept thinking about what could have happened if I'd opened the door. Number 3, I was staying at a hotel for a work trip, grateful to finally unwind after a long day of meetings. I just settled into bed when I heard a knock at the door. "Housekeeping," a voice called out. I was confused. Why would housekeeping come so late? I glanced at the clock. It was nearly 11 p.m. I got up and looked through the peephole. A woman stood outside wearing a hotel uniform, holding a stack of towels. She looked normal enough, but something didn't sit right with me. I hadn't requested any towels, and the room had already been cleaned earlier. "I didn't ask for housekeeping," I called through the door, keeping it locked. There was a pause. "Oh, sorry, must be the wrong room," she said, but her voice wavered, sounding almost disappointed. She hesitated before walking away, glancing back at my door. Feeling uneasy, I called the front desk to confirm if housekeeping was supposed to be on my floor. They told me no, they don't do evening rounds. Security was sent up immediately. Later, I found out that the woman wasn't an employee at all. She had somehow gotten hold of a uniform and had been knocking on doors, hoping someone would open up. I don't know what she was planning, but I was glad I trusted my instincts. Number 4. I was staying at a budget hotel during a road trip, just looking for a place to crash for the night. I double-checked that the door was locked and bolted before falling asleep. Around midnight, I woke up to the sound of my door handle jiggling. Still half asleep, I thought maybe it was just someone confused about their room number. It stopped after a moment, so I brushed it off and rolled over. Then it happened again, more forcefully this time. Someone was definitely trying to get in. My heart started racing. I crept over to the door and looked through the peephole. A man stood outside, fiddling with the handle and muttering to himself. "Hey, wrong room!" I shouted through the door. He froze, then stepped back, looking genuinely startled. "Oh, sorry, I thought this was my room," he mumbled before stumbling down the hall. I didn't feel right about it, so I called the front desk to report it. They told me no one else was checked into a room near mine. Security did a sweep but didn't find anyone. The next morning I found out there had been a break-in on another floor. The guy had been trying door handles, looking for one that was unlocked. If I hadn't bolted mine, I don't even want to think about what could have happened.